Hello all, welcome to the next training session for Manthan 2021. And today I'm going to take the session on identification of terrorist profile on social media platforms. As like in the first session, I have mentioned about the crime prone areas. So relatively with that data set and at some sort of things like you can say we'll be connecting to the first day session also. Basically we'll be taking data from there, extracting the solutions, okay, and trying to reach to the problem statement. Okay, so this statement or this particular problem statement for the identification of terrorist profiles, you need to go with a lot of stuffs on the net, right? First of all, you need to be very specific with which profile of what content you are trying to search it, because that plays a very important role in your executions. Okay. Now, when we come up to the topic of identification, whenever it is identification, it should be in some extract conditions, right? You should have to give the conditions, what conditions you want, where in which extent you want your data to be extracted out. Okay. Now, today I'll be going with Twitter data. Okay, one of the extraction what I have done, and the very most important thing what I'd like to discuss for now is that here in all these problem statements, whatever we are having in Manthan, we have been said, right? You all have been said that use of APIs for your answers are strictly restricted, right? So we can grab the data from there using the APIs if you want. Like if you're extracting Twitter data, you'll be obviously using APIs over there. Yeah, you extracting Facebook data, you'll be using APIs for it. For extracting data, it is okay. But when you are trying to make a model, when you are trying to make no results with that, in that extent we cannot take any kind of the APIs. We cannot use any APIs over there to execute it, right? So what we'll do is we will be taking data from the APIs, that is okay. But while coming up with the solutions, we would be focusing more on the codes. We'll be focusing more on our written data codes, right? That will execute in the good manner. Okay. So let's just get started. 1 minute. Let me share my PPT to you. Start going there. So you can see now, right? This is the problem statement ID INTL DA16, the identification of terrorist profiles on social media platforms. Now, when we talk about social media platforms, guys, what are the platforms we generally use for, like our daily purposes? It could be Facebook, it could be Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram, LinkedIn. Okay, these kind of things we use on a daily purpose. But apart from it, there are a lot of areas more where the people like uses their social contents, right? Let it be images or videos where they share their daily social contents there. So that platforms are a vast area. There are a vast area for the respective social media platforms. Okay, so not only with the 5 to 6 platforms are there, there are a lot of platform to go through with any social kind of extents. Okay, so when we are identifying this terrorist profiles on the web, this is a very major topic, right? So it should be very much specific while dealing with this particular problem statement. Why? Because we cannot put any one page, or we cannot take any such ID and can give it as like it is a terrorist profile ID, right? You understand? So you have to be very specific in this particular term. And for this, like I would be taking that GTD data set, global terrorism database, right? Because based on this, you can identify that what are the terror groups which are active, the terror groups which are active in respective areas, the terror groups which have been focusing on a particular country there. Okay, so all these things would be, working more specifically on what data you collect. So the important thing is that when you're using API for Facebook extractions, Facebook code extractions, I would like to let you know that the Facebook has denied the permissions to share his their data now. Okay, so you don't have any access now. If you want even to like to get the data, you would have to like make an app. Okay, first of all, you need to go to the Graph API. Then you would be giving and or you will be likely to take permission from Facebook first of all. So they will be asking for what purpose you want, what kind of data it is. A lot of big procedures now it will be going on because they have stopped to like they have restricted that they will not be sharing their data. Okay. So we are left now with what? We are left now with the Twitter. We are left now with the normal like Instagram. We are left now with the WhatsApp. So see, if you can retrieve data from any one social media platform, anyone, let it be a Twitter, let it be WhatsApp, let it be Instagram, let it be WeChat, anything, right? Hangout, from anywhere, if you can access the data, if you can retrieve, if you can understand what the data says, then you can possibly work on any kind of a data set you would be getting in. Okay. So, like, I'm just showing you some statistics, some graphs, simply, right? Really, I'll not show all the data there, right? Because these are some confidential terms which has not to be shared very briefly. Although I'll share you some extents, I'll show you how you can make it, but complete data I cannot show you. Okay, you need to retrieve it some things, and this is like some kind of confidential things. Okay, fine. So this is a stats, right? Which is you can see like the evidence web search of term social media analytics of worldwide from 2004 to present 2019 up to. Okay, so it's a graph of the crimes or the terror attacks accordingly up to the years, and you can see like the graph is increasing. Even we can understand it with our data set, we'll be understanding it after this identification. We would be understanding that how we can retrieve the information. I will be retrieving the information. So my next session would be there with the retrieval of contact details for these terrorist profiles. Okay. So we'll be first understanding this. Okay. All right. So you can see the graphs. I have mentioned the graphs over there. You can see the graphs and how these changes, like the trends, we call it as trends graph. Okay. And we are using Google Trends there to make it. Next. So here are some list of popular social networking websites where we see the active users per month. And you can see Facebook, which is having 1.59 billion active users every month. Same for the WhatsApp. And as you can see, there are QQ, WeChat, QZone, Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, Google Plus, lot of particular named or the common named platforms, social media platforms. Okay. All right. And even like if it is only working in one particular country, if there is a social media platform which only works in a particular country, has been mentioned there. Okay. So there are some list of hashtags because hashtags are going to play a very important role uh, when you are extracting the stuff. It is going to be play a very important role. You need to understand what are the exact values. I'll make you walk through some of the datas. So where we'll be understanding it. However, Twitter data you can extract easily. There you can take it. No issues with that. But Facebook, just letting you know that because if you just extract it and if Facebook knows that you are taking or misleading with the data, they can file some cases and all because it's going on nowadays. 2 days, 3 days before the Facebook have denied the permissions to share their data. So make sure we don't do these things. Okay, you can go through the nets. You can understand you can prepare your data sets for it. Okay, fine. So we see some kind of attack locations here and their list of hashtags used. Like if we talk about the India, Second, let me show my pen. If we talk about India, like Mumbai terror attack, India. Hmm? So what are the list of hashtags, common hashtags I'm talking about, like Taj attack, Mumbai terrorist attack, okay? Even you can just have it, it's 2611 sometimes, okay? Right? Now if we see to a pie plot there, so total tweets during the emergencies between 2008 to 2017 on basis of all those attacks what I made you saw there itself. There are 2008 first one, Mumbai attack, and total tweets you can see on there in the emergencies were 10,000. Then 2013 it was murder of Lee Rigby, 5 lakhs. Okay. Then accordingly, like there are some of the cases given of the tweets count. So tweet count, how you make it? Let's say you tweeted something on Twitter. Then someone is there who reposted it, or retweeted, we say so, right? Someone is there who retweeted it. Then possibly like if it is retweeted by another, like what content you shared, right? Shared by someone else. Then again, someone more shared that particular content what the other person had shared, right? So it's kind of a chain, we say, right? It gets retweeted and retweeted there. But the retweeted count will be in your particular account. Hmm? Right? That how many times it is being retweeted. So with that help, we can take some kind of idea. I'll show you there in the data set. Okay. So let's just see the practicals now. Understand how we can retrieve. And again, I'm saying that when you are going with this problem statement, be sure you take the exact contents. Be sure that you take the good ideas there. And that's it. I'll be helping you how in this particular session that what more things you can take it to understand this problem statement clearly. Okay. So let's just get started with it. Let me share you my notebook. One moment. Okay. Yeah. So identification, before I go to identification, like I'll be showing you the data, what I'm using. Okay. Like it is a Twitter data set where I have some text, favorite count. Okay. And some of the parameters as you can see, but there are some null values also. There are also some of the null values. So there are approaches, there are ways how you can, reach through, reach to your content exactly you are using. So we all know, like, the social media today plays a very essential part in everyone's life, not only an individual I'm talking about, but even the functioning of any governing body, maybe. Okay. So statistics is like used to show that the current world, population or the internet users, they are not less than a billions, right? The power, like if you talk about of social media or social networking, is like that. The number of worldwide users are expected to be on like a expected stats. If you talk about, it would be reached by 3 point or 5 point something billion. 3 would be less. It should be 5.6, 5.5 billion an expected value, I'm saying. Okay. By 2022, 2023, you can say on. Okay. So just simple. We'll focus on our codes for now. Understand what it works. Okay. 1 second. See, now this is a data set. Okay. Which is having some of the columns. tweets basically. See, hashtag. So what we have been targeting here is that we are targeting what? We are targeting the terror groups. We are targeting the profiles which contain some terror content. We are targeting these things there. Okay. Okay. Now let's move forward. TSU7, what is it? Not needed. It written this right? Should be 16. As you can see, I'm using some sort of not a lot of data. Okay. Now, so this is a Excel file of Twitter data, which is having tweets created on particular date, truncated, their status source from where it has been taken, the screen name, user ID you can say on, the retweeted count. If it is retweeted, then yes. Not retweeted, then false. Okay, is a retweet yes or no? Longitude and latitudes are actually null here, so it's not available. So what are the data we have retrieved? We see that these columns have null values. So what I do is I just simply drop all them. Okay. Then moving forward to it, I'll be just checking up the head after dropping it. Complete data is this. Okay. How many retweeteds, how many texts are there, how many things. So now go with three. Okay. So now the screen names are there. Screen names are like for the users. You can say on these are the usernames. These are the areas. These are the pages, whatever it is. Okay. They speak much more about ISIS. They speak much about the terrors. Hmm? So these profiles are there on the Twitter, which Twitter would be very easy to identify because hashtags are there and you can just see on those hashtags what are the profiles which are working on. Okay. So there are profiles like if you want to see this particular profile, the news at 20. Okay. Now, if there is a news channel which is talking about the terrorism also, it is not as like given that that particular channel is a terror group, no? Right? So that is what I'm saying. You should be very specific because there could be some media channels, there could be some personalities who are basically targeting the terror groups and trying to let the people know about these kind of terrorism what are going now in the world, right? So we are not here to target those particular things. We are not here to identify those particular accounts or those particular profiles because they are doing their jobs, right? But what they are doing is they are identifying itself. They are also taking some, like informations of any terror attack and then posting it there to share to the users that this has been done to let the users know or to let the people know about it, right? But we are here to identify the groups or the profiles who are actually contributing in these terror attacks. Okay. So, like if I take news at 20 and just try to identify it. So, 1 second. We'll be taking this as a Twitter data and start off the screen name. Keep it as test. Try to skip it up. So, like you can see that there has been some text given. The particular screen name are of news at 20. Then retweet count is 1. Retweeted true. Okay. Is retweet is it is a retweet, yes or no? So it is a retweet. So is this like Twitter or tweet, is this again retweeted? So it says no, right? The false or sometimes true, any of them, it is retweeted or not. So I'll show you all the text first of all. How many of them are favorite? Is anyone their favorite also? I'll see if any of them are favorites. So you can say favorite count where it is greater than 0. So if we execute, we get nothing, right? Because there are no such favorite tweets given. So we'll be just simply executing with this and we'll try to. So how many are there with this? What is the shape? If you want to see this shape, so we can just write it, start the shape, 49 particular tweets. And if we only walk through the text area, so we have all these texts, right? 5 Hong Kong students, particularly Ultra Scan Mena. This is particular ID, which is like giving. If we take the first value, key error. That's so okay. First one is 23. So it says RT at something British Somalis met with hatred and abuse murder of this particular link. Hashtag terrorism, hashtag ISIS. So link is there where you can just see and what it comes through. Let's see. So it's Arab news and this is coming there. Okay, yeah. So British have received hatred, death threats, and abuse. Like what all things are there has been given. If we take it for the next sort of values, if we gonna print all those values one by one, like sorry. So you're getting up the tweets for each and every particular value. Okay. So if we just print tweet number one, tweet number two, tweet number. Okay. So like tweet number, and then you can give the one second. And you can just write here it as the index tweet dot index, the values, what you are actually figuring it up. Okay. So this particular dot index of that tweet, copy it, paste it, dot index of these tweets. Its index of this not available. Second one, second. Okay, do one thing. Let me print it first now because I don't have much time to go with this. Okay, next is Indian minister calls for cancellation of Pakistan India T20 match, and this is again the link. And you go there, you again direct go to the Google. You have Indian minister calls for the cancellation, and it is a news of 20 October 2021. Okay, so for Pakistan India T20 match. And you can see here the tweets are their times now. Okay. So these tweets are actually being focused in. Okay. You need to take up the tweets there. Okay. Basically, data I'm talking about, whatever data come with. So hashtag Pakistan. Again, what is the use here to have use the hashtag ISIS, but still it's coming hashtag ISIS. So you need to identify what I have tried. I have tried to retrieve all the tweets which contains hashtag ISIS. So you can just find up the particular channels or particular groups active. Like let's say if it is test ops 2015, which is having 396. So we'll take this particular ID. I'm sorry, should be here. So we are just checking up the tweets of this particular ID. So you can see this tweets are basically in some other languages. So what we can use is we can use this language first of all to convert in English language. So you need to understand which kind of language it is. Okay. So one moment if I can use this thing. 1 second. One moment. So like if you can just convert these things, from which language you need to convert, that is one thing we cannot understand it here. So if you just want to go through, let me come up with a library, a Google Translator you can work with and can take it through there. Just 1 minute, I'm coming with this. Okay, feature. Okay, so like let's say if these are the tweets, right? We cannot understand these languages, but if you want to identify, so we'll be installing this. Sorry, we'll be importing this Google Translator to like translate these languages to what it is, and if we are getting it, then it's okay, right? So we can just get like what kind of thing it has written there. So we'll try to go through this. So let's say from Google Trans, we would be importing the translator. Okay. And I would like to pass this translator through the translator function. Now, like this is, let's say, one of the tweet or any one sentence. I think this is going to be one tweet first. Or let's say I would like to print the tweets for only one tweet if I want to see. So this of 0, this of the text of this 4. Okay, so like you can see, this is the written string. So I'll be just copying this complete thing. Okay, and we'll try to convert this. Okay, so let me see if I write translated or translate. So we would be translating this particular string. Okay. Now, in which language we need to translate has to be defined. So if I want my destination language to be English, okay, because that also matters. That not matters. This is important because translation could only be done when you define in which destination you want to give it. So my destination is English. I'll be making it EN, simple. Okay, let me see what comes. So let's write the text, what we see. Okay, so we have actually translated this language and it says good morning, hello, good evening, good night. Other bath, thank you, I'm going, I'm back. What about drinks? It's really, it's fluffy. So this is something, as you can see, it's written over there. Okay. Similarly, if I take the other one, like let's just say next one is what, like 2239 9961, let's say any one random 9961. You need to actually go through a lot of contents. It's not easy to identify a terrorist profile there. Okay, if we go with this link, let me copy paste it. Yeah. Now let's change this particular complete. And because we cannot read this, if we can read it, it's better. If we cannot, like, you need to write it like this. That's, and I guess this also says the same thing, right? At some extents, this particular things are very clear. Okay, fine. So this is how you can, find it out, locate things. Okay, fine. Now I'm going back to this one, the thing what we did in the crime prone areas. Okay, so this was, I guess, doing, I'll run this quickly. And I'll show you some kind of maps, how you can identify using the locations. Okay, so let us get it executed. Meanwhile, we will be trying to read this data, this final data, what I have made. So here in this final data, which is having 2 lakhs, again, the same thing, 2 lakhs, 1,183 rows over 25 columns. We need to identify the gang names and the profiles, like how they are actually, attacking. So once you have identified that what are the particular groups which are active, you can then work on that particular groups. You can find the hashtags for those groups respectively. Okay, so if I just try to see, this is very important to understand the groups active. If you see the number of kills by each terror groups in a country. I'll first talk about for every countries, then we'll be going with India as also, okay? Because our more priority is to go with this our country, okay? So we have some locations, some are the values of NAN, some latitudes, longitudes given over there, and there is a group name also. So sometimes it's unknown group, but mainly there are groups given, okay? The date of attack, the day, the month, the year, the country, the region, the state, the city, latitude, longitude, what type of attack it was, where exactly, like on which they were targeting, what were the target subtype, okay, the nationality on which they were targeting, what was their motive, what are the weapons they used, the details, how many kills they made, how many wounds were there, And if it is a case of sorry, if it's a case of hijacking, then where they have diverted, whether they have diverted or not. If yes, then where? Okay, then the countries. If they have asked for any ransom amount, then what is the number? Things over there. Okay, ransom, yes or no, 1 or 0. If yes, then what is the amount? Okay, so this is exactly 2 lakhs data there. You will be going through it. Let's understand it. So we say this final data. The final data will be equal, or let's say I'll be making a DF. So now this would be the final data, and I would be taking some major parameters like, let's take group, let's take country, and let's say the number of kills they have made, because that is important. But I see that the kills here is 110 such over there. So we also need to identify the total number of kills they have made. So for that, we need to take the parameters for making what exactly are the kills. So what we can do is, in this data, we can see, like, if we are having any null values, yes or no. If there it is, then we would be, like, mentioning it, by giving some mean datas. Okay. So let's just see that. First of all, we need to first clean the data. That is important. So 1 minute. You first see your final data dot is null dot sum. So you see there are a lot of this final data is actually having a lot of null values. So what we will do is, if we just check missing percentage, if you want to check this missing percentage, we'll take this, it here, okay, multiplied by 100 and divided by the length of the final data you're working in with. Okay. And then look onto the missing percentage. So you can see the percent of the data what are not there. Okay. We can see the data which are not there. So this is like the missing percentage. So what we'll do is we'll try to fill up the values where exactly they are null. Okay. So I'll write that final data of, if there are any wounds, so we'll write the wounds would be actually equals to final data of the wound. If there are null values, as you can see over there, the wound is having 9.4% null values. So what we'll do is we'll fill NA. From null, it's better we give 0. Okay. Wherever the null values are there, we'll fill the 0. We'll take the kill, we'll make it equals to okay. We'll take the fill and we'll take the casualties. So we'll make one column that would be the casualties. So casualties will be what? It would be actually the final data of the wound plus final data of the kills. Yes, right? The kill plus the wound would be the uh, casualties column. Okay. Now, you would be filling unknown wherever in the state and city it is null value, because we see the city and state is also having some sort of null values. So what we'll do is we'll write the data the final data of the state dot fill the null values, and I'll fill it with the unknown because they are not known. So better to be give as unknown rather than the null values. And you can have n place equals true. And same, they'll be going with the city, and you'll write the fill NA value unknown for the in place value true. So executed it, right? Now, simple, like now you can just check it, the things what you're having, the total number of kills and all. Again, I can go through and identify exactly the visualizations, and you can identify how these trends are working in. Okay. So now we'll make it come here, groups active. We'll take this kill. Okay. And now we'll write that df is equals to the final data, or let's say this df what we have made upwards. So df is equals to the df of group by. Okay. So df dot group by of the groups active and the country they are actually targeting highly. And I'll give access equals 0. So let's take the sum of this. Let me make it here. Yeah. So once done with this, we'll check the df. So you can see the group, 1 second. That's a number of kills and basis of that. 1 minute, guys. Final data of df of groups. Final data of group. Yeah, it was to be like this. Okay, no problems. What we'll do is we will sort the values. Okay, so we will write sort values, and we'll sort values according to the kills because very less killers there. Okay, we want some value counts possibly, and we'll write that ascending is equals to false. Yeah, now it's better than previous. Okay, and we'll drop all those unknown values. Okay, first we'll try to drop those unknown. If there are any unknown groups over there, we'll try to drop in for now. Okay, because if you don't want to drop it, you can leave it like this. We need to identify, so that's why I'm saying we can drop it. But if we don't want to drop, you can just let it be like this, and you can go to the reset index, and then can have a head of values. I take first 10 data for now. First 10 groups we can visualize. So you can see now that there are some groups, targeting countries and their respective kills. Now, if in this data you want that your country is equals to India. So you get nothing over for now, right? So we can make a data possibly only for India, I've said. So I'll write it's IND or in that would be extracting from the final data. The final data should be like the country should be equals to India. So IND shape, if we look at around, it's 1, 3. That's possible. Okay. The correct things over there. Okay. Now you do the same analysis there for the IND data set. So DF of IND, TF of IND, TF of IND. Hmm? So at this IND data set, you'll take all these things and we'll execute this. So if we check the DF of IND, do we get any kind of things? Yes, we get in India. Like if we don't take the first 10, if we take all the first 50 values, so what are the things we are getting? We are getting the first 50 groups, like the groups which are targeting there on India. Okay. So we have an unknown group exactly, and the kills are 4,848. It's very high. Okay. So you can feature it. You can draw a particular pivot table according to the type of kills they have made. If you want to, go only to the kind, because it's all about the analysis. So once you have, gone through that, what I kind of groups are active, these are the names. You can just identify it through there. Okay. Well, I'll show you one more data. Okay, but that is quite very high confidential thing. So I would be sharing you some bit of that snapshots. Okay, all right. So now uh, let's just say that. Okay, let it be. Let's say we want to see the type of kill. So we'll say type kill equals to the TF of India dot the pivot table. I'll make it. I'll make a pivot table which will be the columns. That would be the attack type. We have a column as attack type, and we'll take the values which is possibly for only the kills. And the aggregate function we will be working would be the sum. So if we look onto the type kill, we'll be having a table. What's it? We have a key error of attack type ATTACKTYPE. One moment, I need to check it. The data frame. Oh, sorry. It was in the India data, right? So you can see this data set, which is possibly like having the kills. So attack type for kill, if we just focus, we have armed assault 9630, assassination 2030 28. Okay. So respective to the countries, if you target, we can take it on basis of countries. If I take it, few country. So attack type, you can see armed assault in India. I'm focusing on only on India. So the ratios, the assassinations, things remain same. But when it is not focused on India only, when it is a completely data, a final data, or let's say the DF, sorry, the final data I would be working here. When it is completely out the final data, it would be something else. So kills in only kind of, if you take a transpose of it, it would change. So only armed assaults in respective countries, would be there. So this is the things. And the topmost 5 countries attacked with the terrorisms, you can just grab it there. Okay, so I'm not taking about night for now. The countries I'm not taking. Attack type. So all over the world, right? There are 1,74,916 kills only for the armed assault. Okay, if you calculate, guys, if you calculate the complete kill value, so see, you can see it's 4,56,249 kills only due to the terror attack. Okay, so with this, what results we come up with? That the country with the most attacks, if you see a country with the most attack, what we are doing it here, if we do with this DF, country with the most attack is possibly you can see it's Iraq. Okay, all right, because if we just summarize the values, you can see the Iraq. Because if you just check it or you make group by this, you'll find it resultly there. Okay, the most attacked city there. Okay, so these are some of the groups which are active. You can now try to find out these keywords in the particular data what you are extracting. Well, I'll show you one more data here. One second. So yeah, like I can give you only the access to see this that there I have a data which is having some groups relatively. If I take some 25 30 data there, you have this the account or the profiles. I'm not taking the all the columns. Why? Because these files are actually confidential, so I'm just showing you the regions where they're active, the category they are following in, the type they're having, and affiliated with which kind of organizations. Is everything mentioned over there. Okay, so we'll be meeting in the next session where we'll be retrieving the data. We have identified it, right? Now we'll be focusing on retrievals of these contact details and all. Okay, so for this is like you can retrieve data from Twitters and things like, okay, and you can then just work it accordingly to that, right? So I guess things would have been clear to you. Okay. We'll be focusing on the next session after this because this is correlated to that particular problem statement ID. Okay. So I hope you all young minds will be coming up with a great idea. All right. And so good luck for your solutions. Okay. Jai Hind.